Oh,
let's start with you drinking. Get right up to the mic. Let us hear it.
I mean, it's better than what we just ended with.
Yeah. Yep. All right. So tonight we find out if anyone has notifications on for Bear Island Comics, because we didn't advertise this at all.
No, I didn't have notifications on either. I had to look to see if you even put something on there.
Yeah, we're just diving right into part 2 of our Gotham Earthquake saga, the conclusion of Cataclysm. So we're doing.
Oh wait, I lied. You just went live.
Oh, good. That's good to know.
Yeah.
The back half, if you were, and I'm unprofessionally starting on the wrong page here. So yeah, last time we actually that kind of works. Let's go back to that. We ended with the big reveal of somebody calling himself Quake Master, threatening to cause another earthquake and claiming credit for. Oh wow, unruly simian. All right, it's a miracle. Somebody still cares.
A fellow Georgian.
Yeah, that's right. Travels a lot though, so he might not be in Georgia right now.
That's true.
He and his dog, adorable dog.
Yes.
So yeah, Quake Master reveals himself, and I guess the mystery moving forward through the rest of Cataclysm will be who is Quake Master. Did you have any theories before, like while reading this, or did you think you were just?
I didn't have any theories on who he really was. I just didn't think that he was legit. I was like, this isn't.
There is something very puppety about him in this image, right?
Very.
Yeah, and like he's always in shadow.
Yep.
So you're thinking somebody's sort of putting up a front.
I mean, just pulling his strings, you know?
Yeah. So that does end up being true, but we won't spoil it just yet. The first issue of the back half here is Batman Chronicles 12, which is basically just a collection of stories adding flavor to Cataclysm. One of which involves a group of people who are trapped, which will become a theme. We're going to see lots of people trapped throughout the Earthquake saga, not surprisingly. A kid's talking about he's a huge Batman fan, wants to meet him someday. And then we see a group of criminals who are like out doing good deeds, trying to like find people and free them. And they're doing a little bit of arguing about it. And somebody mentions a contract. We all signed a contract to do whatever it takes to help Gotham City in this time of crisis.
Right.
And we move forward. There's talk that it might be something about Batman in the contract. I honestly don't. It's been so long, I don't even actually remember.
I know, yeah.
Specifics were here, but criminals are always talking about Batman.
Right.
Anyway, they come down through the elevator. They burst in and they're like, "Yeah, we're bad guys. We're doing good stuff. Kind of feels good. It's kind of cool. Let's do more of it." One of them on the other's shoulders, which is kind of funny. And then they're talking about the little kid, the little Batman loving kid comes up to the one guy and he's like, "Hey, mister, were you guys sent by Batman?" And he's like, "Do I disappoint this little kid and tell him no?" Because he really wants it to be Batman. And she's like, "Okay. Yeah. Yep.
I suppose we were."
And the reason he did that is because he signed a contract from the desk of Bruce Wayne. Obviously, they don't know he's Batman, do they? Because that would be huge. Item 8 says, in addition to the clause against looting, the undersigned hereby agrees to rob no one of faith. So basically, that you can't lie to that, or you can't rob that little kid of his faith. You've got to tell him it's Batman. Actions will be grounded in logic, but during the course of this mission, nothing will be stated or implied to any person or persons with the express intent of crushing spirit or will. The injuries encountered in an undertaking of this magnitude will not be limited to those of the body. This must be kept in mind at all times. And then, of course, item 9 is no guns.
No guns or firearms. And they talk a little bit about how they, in their conversation, how they do it for they're doing it for profit. And then the one guy was like, "Yeah, no, I'm just doing it to prove people wrong, to show them that I can do this if I wanted to. But I pretty much choose the path of evil or villainy."
Yeah. We got JP in the chat. Says, fellas, my Prelude to No Man's Land Omni came. I think I saw that arrive.
Oh, nice.
But I haven't had a chance to dig into it. So you know what? One of these times we might just have JP join us if he's up for it.
Oh yeah.
He might be doing a little bit of a read along here.
What did he get? What did he say? The Prelude to No Man's Land, or he got the No Man's Land Omnibus?
Dude, there's so many different names for like the stories leading up to No Man's Land. If it's an omnibus, I'm guessing it's like all this stuff. Cataclysm and Aftershock, probably.
Oh, yeah, I think so.
It's a thick story we're diving into, folks.
Girthy.
Yep. You wouldn't know anything about that. House of Cards is the second story, and I automatically love it because it has Ra's al Ghul in it. Tell me, detective, do you see what I see? He basically is just, I think this might have been like a letter he wrote him or some sort of message.
Inner monologue.
Yeah, you know, Ra's is always trying to just convince the detective or Bruce. He knows who Batman is, to just quit and join him. You know, come give his seed to Talia, and they'll have more kids or something. They've already had one. So he's just telling them, look, there's no hope, man. All you do is run around punching people. So there's nothing you can do here. This is above your station, sir. This is above your pay grade. One of my favorite quotes here. There's no villain to bury your fist into. No Bane, no Joker. Your childish yearning for vengeance can find no outlet.
And then there is a cheesy part where he's like, my own failed attempts at tectonic plate shifts force even me to bow to Mother Earth's superiority.
I mean, that's Ra's, man. You gotta love it.
Yeah.
You gotta love the hubris of Ra's al Ghul. I ask you this, detective, who is the madman now? And there's just no good way to draw sweat in comics, is there?
No, there just is not. It looks like his face is melting like Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Yeah. So yeah, he's like, come on and join me, dude. The war is over. You're done. Perhaps not you will join me. Take your proper place at my side.
Yeah, Gotham has fallen, is what he says. I thought this was a great issue. Like it wasn't really anything but his like inner monologue. But I mean, Ra's is cool, so it was good to see him in it, and it was just kind of a cool thing where something succeeded where he could not.
Yeah. Yep, Gotham has fallen. Sorry. Third one is I didn't realize it right away at first, but it's a Penguin story.
This might be one of my favorite issues in this whole book.
Favorite stories? Because
favorite story. It's only like 2 pages, but like I thought it was great.
It was great. So simple, but so it really did add a lot of flavor to what's going on here.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So yeah, this guy's Penguin's just walking around, and this guy's like, "Oh, thank God, I can't move. Please help me."
To kind of preface that though, so like what we talked about the last time, so he shows up and talks to Penguin and tells Penguin, "Remember, you have to help Gotham, or I will make life hell for you," basically, so to speak. So this is, I guess, his version of helping.
I guess, but I think that was more about you got to give me your men because I'm going to take them into the world and help people. So he's like begging. He's like, "Hey, come back. I'll do anything." Penguin does come back. He's like, "What do you do for a living?" "I'm an accountant at a law firm." "Why?" "I will pull you out of here. In return, I will find you and I will ask you for a favor. Do you understand?" "Yes, fine. Please hurry. Thank you." So basically, Penguin's just like stocking up on future favors.
On favors, yeah.
Yeah. He's banking favors. Comes upon another guy saying the same thing. "Please, I'll do anything. You got to help me." "What do you do for a living?" He teaches grade school. That's not going to be. That's not going to be impressive to Penguin.
Not going to be helpful.
It's not like a skill that Penguin needs.
He doesn't need that. No.
So basically, just goodbye. Walks away. So we confirm Penguin is still evil.
Yeah.
And he is taking advantage as you would assume that he would. This one's just called Trapped. By the way, the art throughout this issue is pretty throughout Batman Chronicles 12 is quite good. I don't think any of these really disappointed me.
No, they were good.
Basically, there's a guy who's trapped underground in the dark, and Robin is up with the rescue teams trying to find people. He says, I think someone's trapped. The guy's like, oh, we're already spread too thin. Sorry, we can't spare somebody to come with you. So the guy keeps thinking he hears rescuers.
Right.
And they're actually rescuing someone else. So
Someone
you see Robin pull somebody out. And then the guy's like, his inner monologues, why didn't I hear them? Where did they go? And he's just still there. They didn't know he's there.
Yeah, it's not. That's like. I mean, I think what was cool about this one was it was just not like. It wasn't really an uplifting. It kind of, again, dwelled on everything that was going on and how bad it really was.
Unruly and John's Comics with Kids with solid observations. I can't argue. Unruly says Penguin's all Machiavelli. That is for sure. And then John just marveling that we're here.
And that's also for sure.
Yeah. And then this might have been your favorite one. I remember you saying you liked this story a lot, the Two-Face one.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
And John should like it too because it's got some Klaus Janson art in it. Actually, Klaus Janson story and art. So we've got Two-Face is in some rubble, and some of his. I guess these are actually what are these cops that he paid off or something, or like.
Yeah, I believe so. That's how I took it anyway.
So they're kind of his henchmen, but they're kind of also cops.
Yes.
So welcome to Gotham, folks. So yeah, they're talking about robbing Second National Bank, getting into the armored truck from Second National Bank, and they're like, "No, we gotta help Two-Face. Slip the rope under his arms, pull him up. We got him." And then what happened here? Okay, they're trying to pull him up.
They get him up. There's an aftershock. He gets up. They fall in.
Okay,
is what happens, and then it just kind of goes downhill from there for them.
Oh yeah, and then they're like, "You wait, now you got to help us." And he's like, "Well, now I'm looking down on you." They're worried about drowning. He says, "You want me to help you? My comrades who would sell my flesh by the pound need my help?" Because I guess he was pissed that they were considering going to get that money instead of helping him.
Yep.
John says, Jansen plus Two-Face for the win. Yes, indeed. And I love that panel. I love the coin flip panel.
It's a great panel. Yeah.
Klaus. I need to get a Klaus autograph at a convention someday. So yeah, you just see him flipping the coin. It doesn't really show you what happens.
I have a sweet gold Klaus on Dark Knight 3.
Is it within you seem to be looking over at it. You want to grab it and show us?
Oh, it is on my wall. Sure, yeah. Why not?
Then we'll get to Little Orphan Andy. Unruly says, I must confess, my first instinct would be to rescue people trapped in banks. Okay, were that an option, awesome.
Yeah, so right there.
Let me see if I can remember how to. There we go. Oh, it's framed and everything.
Oh yeah,
mega glare.
But yeah, can't really see it.
It's signed in gold, you said?
Signed in gold right there, right across the top.
Oh, I can kind of see it.
Yeah, right there.
Sweet.
Yeah, on my wall of autos.
Listen, we're just lucky your internet is working at all.
Yeah, we are 100% correct on that. Yes.
Not the best.
Not the best.
Down there in Georgia. All right, Little Orphan Andy. We see a lunchbox. That can't be good, right?
Mm-mm.
So there's a kid who there's a wall just collapsed and like he was in like the open space.
Yeah,
So he's the luckiest kid in Gotham.
Luckiest. Mm-hmm.
And then rescuers show up, and we get a sighting of
Leslie.
Dr. Leslie Tompkins. She found his lunchbox, and she came to say hi and make him feel better. She says, there, hush now, everything's going to be all right. And I cut out a lot of the panels from this, but I just wanted to give the gist of what happened because we got to move on.
Yeah, that was one of those shorter stories too. Like, so for my book, they sprinkled, instead of putting them all in one issue, they sprinkled those short stories out throughout the whole trade.
I remember that, John, from Baltimore.
Very nice.
Good times hanging out with John at Baltimore and Alec and the whole comic core crew. Moving on to Nightwing 20. This should make JP happy. We can talk about covers and stuff too. Chuck Dixon, of course, is the writer. Classic Nightwing writer there. Scott McDaniel did the interior and the cover art. The cover, of course, being ruined by the big blob of reddish wreckage on the left-hand side. DC, what is wrong with you? John celebrating the fact that all the main bad characters made it through. Or did they? Maybe they had to be brought back in the Lazarus pit, John. You don't know that.
Yeah.
Okay, so Day After Judgment is the name of this story. Dick Grayson Nightwing shows up and is yelling, Barbara! Because, of course, it's his girl, man. And she's doing her thing at the computer. She's like, Dick? And they have like a little reunion.
So did you take it that she went from the police station back to her place?
I thought she was still at the police station.
Is she still there? Because is that where he's at?
Yeah, I think because it says she says you came all the way up here from Bloodhaven to check on me. Like, okay, you're surprised your boyfriend made it one city over. I don't know. Actually, I don't know how close Bloodhaven is. JP, chime in. But she's all impressed that he's there. And then there's some really weird art going on here.
Yeah. Yep.
He looks like a total creeper standing behind her here.
He does.
I'm not sure Scott McDaniel has ever seen a man stand behind a woman before.
Lovingly.
Yeah, like if he knows her already. He says, shut up for a second. Just let me enjoy seeing you alive. Okay. So they have like a little moment, and then somebody says, my timing sucks, right?
It's Round Eye Robin.
Tim Drake Robin shows up. Robin, I thought you were in Europe. He's like, great line. I wish I still was. Yeah, because this sucks. And Barbara with kind of like a suggestive line there.
Yeah, a little bit.
Two boy wonders to the rescue. And then the rest of this issue is actually just a threesome of Babs and the Robin.
Yeah.
So I can't show that to you, but we can go to some other panels. And I thought this was funny. You must be Oracle, I'm Robin. So they've never met before.
Right.
Like what?
Yeah. It does seem a little weird.
And he says that he says, I guess so. Kind of weird to meet after all this time. So then they start talking about Batman, and they realize they haven't heard from him.
Yeah, nobody's been able to reach him.
She's like, I thought you guys had. All right, JP says Bloodhaven is like New Jersey to New York, so not very far.
Not very far.
A reasonable trip for a dedicated boyfriend to make. So then we get another great shot of the destruction. We've got this, the Davenport Center has sort of leaned. I mean, not completely fallen because Gotham Electric is still propping it up. But all of Theater Row is underneath, and there are people trapped. They're saying all 80 floors could drop at any second. So clearly this is the strength of Scott McDaniel as an artist, because this is a really good panel.
His like cityscapes or his widescreens like that are much, much better than his actual people. Like if he didn't have to draw people, it'd be great. Ooh, JP or John.
John's timing with a good I don't even want to say what kind of joke it is because I'm trying to keep this clean. But he's good at those kind of jokes.
And we'll just go with inappropriate.
Yeah. C jokes, we'll call them. And okay, so they're talking about it's damn lucky the Quake hit before showtime. Otherwise, those theaters would be full. Thank God for small favors, Bill. And then they're like, hey, get your men out of there. And the guy's like, my men? What are you talking about? And guess who shows up? A completely new character.
He just transferred in from Bloodhaven.
He did. Gordon says, do I know you, officer? He's like, could be, Commissioner. Who could this guy be? Detective Hawk. The Safe and Lofts Division. That's a division cities have.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, you're a long way from burglary. Had to help out, Commish. I don't think we've met. He's like, oh, we've met a number of times. I always work night shift. You're just not used to seeing me during the day. Are these enough hints, Commissioner? Oh, okay. Got it. So that lets Gordon know that Batman's still alive, which he's very happy about. So then we cut to a reporter named what is her name? I don't remember. We've seen her before, I think.
We have seen her before.
She's out there doing her thing. She says the power is out in virtually 100% of the city, obviously. She's like, I don't even know if anyone's watching TV, but I'm just going to keep doing these reports so we can show the nation what's going on outside of Gotham. People outside of Gotham can know, and we can educate people about the horrifying price of unpreparedness, which is a good point. So, as someone who works in TV news, yeah, you go, girl. Daryl Broadbent is her name.
Yes.
Reporting from Gotham City, we see somebody breaking into her truck, and they chase him, but they weren't taking anything. They left a package.
They left a clue.
Yeah. What's up, Warlord? Thanks for joining us. Cut back to Dick and Tim. I think they're back at Wayne Manor, aren't they? Yeah. Wow, this is bad. I don't believe it. Wayne Manor's just got a giant, almost like a sarlacc pit, all it looks like.
That's what it looks like.
Yeah. Most of the main part of the manor collapsed right down into the cave. If anyone came by and saw this, they're thinking about, Batman's identity would be compromised, which is an issue. Barbara's in their ear on a little radio thing. That's what the non-voice bubble things are. Bruce may be way past worrying about his alter ego being revealed. And they're like, oh, yeah, right. He could be dead. And Dick's like, no, he can't be dead. Back to Detective Hawk, who is the not dead Bruce, saving a dude. He says he's the last one. I couldn't leave him. Then here comes the Davenport. It comes down. And boom. Scott McDaniel redeems himself for some
for the Robin and Nightwing faces we just saw.
Questionable use of shadow where people are involved. But man, look how the top of the building is just coming right off.
Yeah.
The top half is just separating. So yeah, that's a day's work or day or two's work for an artist, right? On that panel.
Big those big the city panels, I think they're my favorite for sure through the whole thing, other than that Batman cape we get from I forget his name.
Yeah. Back to the manor. Tim is doing some investigating, climbing down. Actually he went to his house.
No, he went to his house. He had to find his father.
So he hears his dad talking about, why are you sweeping, Mrs. Mack, the maid? There's been an earthquake. Everything's destroyed. You don't have to sweep. And she's like, 'tis no excuse to be slovenly, Mr. Drake. And then he's like, Dad? And he quickly changes out of his Robin.
Quickly changes. Super quick.
In time to say Dad. And then we have this electric hug. This was the most exciting hug ever put to paper by an artist. It's a little much. Anyway, they're happy. Back at Wayne Manor, Nightwing is descending into the Sarlacc pit.
And he has a little bit of like a moment there.
Yeah, there's bats flying around. He's seeing like all the the trinkets and stuff destroyed, and he's like, never really realized what this place means to me. It's gone. And then more amazing use of shadow by Scott McDaniel. He hears something, and he all of a sudden he can't see, and look who it is! It's Alfred and Harold
on the bench seat together.
Do their heads look too big? I don't know.
I mean,
anyway,
I don't.
Let's stop ripping on Scott McDaniel. Actually, let's rip on him a little more, because what the hell is up with this Nightwing? And
where's his arm?
The way he's standing. Well, he's doing like a.
Oh, he's doing like the yeah.
That's what it took me a while to realize that too, which is not the best, but he nailed the butt. You got to get the Nightwing butt. So
true.
Alfred says, "My relief at seeing you knows no bounds, Master Dick." They talk about Bruce, and he said, "It's been a few days since he left the cave. He went through a subterranean stream. We've heard nothing since." Barbara hears that, gets kind of upset. She's thinking maybe he drowned. That's a good panel by him showing Barbara.
Yeah.
I think he did well there. He's just real hit or miss, this Scott McDaniel fellow. Unruly, the giant penny did survive. I think in the last episode we showed that, didn't we? Like how it fell.
It fell
on Alfred a little bit.
On Alfred, yeah.
And Bruce pulled him out from under it, and he made some joke about his life being worth a penny worth. And then we get another Quake Master cameo here.
And I believe this was the video that was dropped off in her van, right?
Yes, in the reporter's van. The massive destruction of 2 days ago was only the start. I can do far more. You've seen what a 7.6 tremor can do. Imagine the devastation a shock of 8 or 9 on the Richter scale would cause. You won't have to imagine it unless Gotham comes up with 100 million in cash. Like, I get it. It was the 90s.
Right.
Nowadays, it would be like billions. I will use my tectonic activator again. Ooh.
This is not a fan favorite of this cover.
Yeah. Mark Buckingham is one of our favorites, I think, in this series, but
he is.
It's okay. I mean, given that half of it's covered up anyway, or a third of it's covered up anyway, and most of it's a newspaper.
I just think they were like, most of the covers we've seen so far have been like, had a lot going on or a lot of action in them. So
yeah,
I like those a little bit better.
Here we have, this is a Klaus Janson issue again, by the way. Here we have Detective Hawk being real cash about his changing of clothes. Like, he doesn't seem to be super well concealed over there, but Bullock's like, "Hey, Commish, what happened to that Hawk guy?" And Gordon's like, "Quiet, Sergeant Bullock. There's more on this tape." They're watching the tape from the reporter or whatever. The $100 million demand. Force my hand and I'll trigger a second quake measuring 9 or even 10. Gordon's just like, "Thoughts?" Montoya's like, "Well, the technical details were fairly convincing." So he's getting good information from somewhere.
From where though?
And who? Let's hope there's a way to learn the answer. So Batman decided he needs answers from an expert, and he thinks of one that the Wayne Foundation hired to assess the Quake Master's threat. And who could that be? It's Jolene Relazzo, who we met in the first couple issues.
Yeah.
A building owned by Wayne Corp, so he's going to go there. But then we find out she's already been taken captive by the Quake Master in order to give him information to make him sound more convincing. So, okay. He's just always in shadows, which just tells you something's up. Yeah, he says if your technical details fail to convince them, then your life is... And she's like very confident about it. Also, she looks way hotter here than in past issues.
Way hotter than in any other issue. Yeah. Especially the first one when you saw her out in the woods.
Yeah. Well, she just had this like hippie vibe going on out in the woods.
She did.
Or up on the...
It's nice that she had time to straighten her hair, though, before getting kidnapped.
Yeah, totally. So Batman's looking for her. and there's no one there. He does some detective work, and he's thinking, you know what? She's been abducted by armed abductors. Or is she the Quake Master? Was this scene staged to suggest a kidnapping? He has no idea what's going on yet.
No.
We're going to cut him some slack, though. There's a lot going on. Lucius Fox meets up with Bruce, and they just have a lot of this is just characters meeting each other and being like, "I'm okay. You okay? Yeah. Okay. Your family's fine because we bought our house from you. That's why we're fine. Quake proofed to the specifications recommended by Jolene Relazzo. So that's smart move. Back at Wayne Manor, Alfred and the Robins, the one former Robin, one current Robin, are hanging out. And Dick's just really hung up on the whole, hey, we got to get this fixed.
Yeah.
Everyone's going to know who Batman is. There's no way a construction crew can rebuild Wayne Manor without seeing the cave. Which, think about that. They couldn't have anyone come in and really do any work.
No, I mean, I think that, I mean, he's thinking a little bit ahead of himself. I think thinking that somebody in the middle of a quake like that is going to just come running out to Bruce Wayne's house. They have other things going on, but yeah, you couldn't hire anybody. It's just Alfred and Hector.
Yeah, they would Harold.
Harold.
They would have to get rid of everything in the cave in order to preserve Batman's identity, I guess. But I like how they weave that in as an issue. Like, you wouldn't think that an earthquake would be a threat. Like, it wouldn't be obvious that an earthquake would be a threat to exposing who Batman is, but it turns out it is. So Tim's like, is this the end of Bruce's secret? And Alfred's like, hey, stop it. Remember, he came back from that Bane thing. He can come back from this. It's just a broken man or not a broken back. We shall never say die. So Alfred gives him a cool little pep talk. Detective Hawk has fully become Batman now. There's a big old bag of old newspaper that they're going to pretend is money to deliver to this Quake Master dude. Batman asks, is Sarah, which is his wife, right? Gordon's wife?
Yeah.
She okay? And he's like, no word yet either way. And I thought that was pretty cool how Klaus did the shadow face or the Sin City kind of face.
Yeah, exactly.
Glasses and mustache. And you see Batman slipping away right behind him, which is awesome because you don't actually get to see that usually. He's usually just gone, but you see like the top of his cape disappearing. So then you got the Moe and Dunk, the henchmen for Quake Master in a helicopter with the cash that was given to them, and they're like, it feels kind of heavy. What? This is just a bag of cash that we're
the winch probably needs oil.
Of course, it's always the winch. So of course Batman's on the bottom of it. They land. He confronts them, punches them out. He does Batman stuff, and he demands to know who is Quake Master. They're like, we don't know. Honest, never seen him in full light. Neither have we. But there might be two of them. And these guys are like, shut up, Dunk. Batman's like, two? Is the other a woman? They're like, we don't know. Okay. We did see someone else in all that gloom. Or no, we ain't even sure we did see someone else in all that gloom. And Batman's like, what gloom?
So at this point, did you have an idea yet?
No, I had no idea. Not any. I'm not going to pretend I did.
No, I didn't either.
He left a note for us to meet him at the GCTV studio where we used a generator for the camera, but all the lights were out. So he's clearly it just tells you that he's trying to hide who he is. Montoya is looking at the tape from the reporter, and she's like, you know what? This looks like a TV news set, Harv. And then they go there, and they're like, freeze, police. But Batman's there too with Moe and Dunk. And he's like, you're too late. Just interrogate these guys. That's what you can do. And Bullock's like, you got it. Hammer and tongs all the way. So back at the cave, the big reunion of Batman, Dick, and Tim, and Alfred. Any concerns about the manor are on hold until we fulfill our basic mission, which might bear repeating. As ever, we do anything and everything we can to protect the people of Gotham. Normally, this means preventing crime, but it embraces any threat, including natural disasters. So don't worry about us. Just do our thing. We'll worry about my identity later. They're watching a tape. Batman decides that it's not Jolene, but she did send a message through the tape. And this is where I just got real confused to the point where I didn't even try to I like read through it 3 times and I couldn't figure it out. Something about woolly mammoths.
Yeah.
And like, it just got so convoluted.
It was very, I was like, okay, cool.
Yeah, like the preservation of the stomach contents of woolly mammoths and the zone of death. And I'm just like, my brain hurts. So they come to the conclusion that it's an opportunist claiming credit for the quake. Obviously, the guy can't cause another quake. But they're worried about Jolene. They're like, he is a threat to her. So, as long as Jolene's life is in his hands. From here, we move on to Detective Comics. Oh, no, we don't. That's a lie. There's a little interruption from the ridiculously long titled Batman Huntress spoiler blunt trauma. Which looks like does this look like it's missing the...
It does.
The Cataclysm thing?
Mm-hmm.
I wonder why they removed that. They must have removed it for a reason. Chuck Dixon wrote this. It's not essential. I kind of want to get through it fast, but Spoiler, whose name I wish I remembered at the moment, is out with like her boyfriend at a mall when the quake hits. And she's like, I'm staying to help people. And he's like, I'm not doing that.
It's Stephanie, right?
Okay, yeah. Stephanie Brown, is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah, daughter of what's-his-face, who's in who's one of the escaped guys from Blackgate. And we see those escaped guys from Blackgate. And they're just sort of like walking around out there deciding where to go next. Somebody calls Cluemaster, and he takes offense to it.
Which is her father.
Yeah.
I felt like this one was kind of just like a filler, like we haven't seen a fight in a bunch of issues. So
exactly.
So here we're just going to give you.
It's moving some characters along. Nothing amazing happens. There's a lot of Huntress just being an asshole. John's shaming JP for not remembering who Quake Master is. Listen, man, this was like 1998. You expect him to remember? We're all getting older, John. Okay, cut some slack to our friends. So we see Ratcatcher. Big clue is because he's got a rat on his shoulder.
Mm-hmm.
2 of them, in fact. They call him Rat Boy. So they're like, we got to vanish. You know, we've escaped prison. We don't want to like squander this opportunity. So they're like, there's some lights over there. It's some kind of big mall. Let's head there and lose ourselves. Well, who else do we know is at a mall? Spoilers are helping people. She grabs this kid who is about to fall off a precipice of some sort, but she loses her footing, and she falls herself, and things are not looking great for her until Huntress swoops in. Like this issue just feels like characters we haven't seen yet. Let's just throw them in real quick. So she catches her out of nowhere. They actually shake hands, like, "Oh, hi, I've seen your work." We see the guys arrive at the mall. Bad guys arrive at the mall. They're gonna get some new clothes and stuff.
Right, they're gonna lose themselves in the mall and take advantage of the quake by opening fire.
Yeah. So the brand new duo, the purple duo of Spoiler and Huntress, show up and start kicking ass. And then along the way, like, Spoiler starts to realize like how aggressive Huntress is.
Yeah, taking it very far.
She's like, I don't know about this chick. This is kind of cruel what she's doing. Like she's not just incapacitating them; she's causing
Right.
permanent damage.
Right.
Because with her it seems more personal, and that's pretty much the only character trait Huntress has ever seen or has ever been given that I've seen. It seems like every story Huntress is just Batman shows up and says, "You're going too far." So yeah, they're getting the new clothes, and what's his face goes, "That's my daughter." And he realizes it, and then they're out there, and Huntress is like, "Yo, the next guy who crosses my path, I aim for his eyes." So of course, spoilers worried that the next guy is going to be her dad.
Right.
Once she realizes it's her dad, she's like, "Oh crap!" She might kill the next guy, so I got to stop her. She's like, "What are you doing, you little maniac?" So yeah, like she stops her long enough to give the other guy a chance to like move in and punch her out. Then they team up on the big guy. There's a little chat over in the corner. There's a little chat. Hi, Dad. Hey, Stephanie. Is that you? Yeah, you know it's me. He's like, come with me. I got like $1 million. Like, let's just run away. Or we could split it. No one would know. It was just lying there in a bank. And she's like, no. And he's like, well, wish you could have seen it my way later. He runs away. So she did her job in saving her dad's life from Huntress. I do like this little thought she has. Dad really is pathetic. So she kicks some ass. That is her dad, actually.
Yeah.
She kicks her dad's ass, but not in like a I'm going to kill you way. They talk about getting away from Huntress, and she kicks her dad down like a escalator,
right,
so that Huntress doesn't see him, because she might still be out killing bad guys. And that's all you really need to know from that one.
Yeah, I could have. I mean, I'm a Huntress fan. Like I like Huntress, but that issue for me was like,
I guess I don't know a ton about her. Like I've read a bunch of stories, and they all just kind of seem similar to me.
Yeah, her real angsty grudge on her shoulder,
yeah,
taking it too far.
All right, back to Chuck Dixon and Graham Nolan, and inks by Klaus, just to add a little bit of flavor. So we are in Wayne Manor, and Robin is trying to figure out who is this guy? Who is Quake Master? He's going through all of his phrasing and things like that, looking for clues. Alfred's like, or he's like, his phrasing is weird, and Alfred's like, the ravings of a lunatic often are. So they're trying to figure it out, whether he's just wacko or if he's like an actual threat, and who he is. And Tim says all the terms he uses are secondhand. We know that. Then we cut to, I think this is Huntress again.
Yes.
She's out just pumping crossbow bolts into bad guys, saying, is there anything lower than scum like you? Well, I mean, yeah, they're looting. That's not good. You shouldn't loot. But I think there's lower than scum like you. So who will show up and try to chill her out? But Batman and Nightwing, the big bad Boy Scout. Batman's like, you're tired, Huntress, tired and hurt. And he's in this like hero pose.
Right.
Such a great hero pose, like flexing his biceps almost, as I flex my lack of biceps. They argue about her aggressive tactics, as they do. She's like, those people were looting when they should have been rescuing people. They would have let those other people die. This has opened my eyes. I don't want to be part of your Batman family or Bat family. And then they argue some more. They tell her to go home. Look at you. You're wounded. You're exhausted. Have you had any rest since it started? They're really concerned about sleep. They're like,
right.
Like everybody's mom. Have you been getting enough rest? She's like, I'm not joining your Batman program. You're not my real dad. And then we see Quake Master again, making another threat. Bring the ransom to the police headquarters until you hear from me again. $100 million in unmarked currency. And Robin's like, this latest tape demand is like the first one. His phrasing, he goes along fine and then pauses mid-sentence. Then he goes on after he's chosen his next word. And something falls on Alfred's shoulder, the crumbling Wayne Manor. And Tim's like, he chooses his words too carefully. He's like he's substituting the word he was about to say for another one. Like when he's about to use the word bills, he says currency instead. And he says prior in place of before. And then, boom, it hits him. He knows who it is. He's like, another hunch, sir? Way better than that. So, meanwhile, Montoya is doing some investigative work as well. They've pulled arrest reports and daily rosters to cross-examine who's come in contact with, like, criminals that have come in contact with each other, who could pull off this sort of Quake Master scam. And she's like, wait a second. And Bullock's like, what? Look who the two of them spent a week in lockdown with. Oh, the Mo and Dunk. Who are they hanging out with in jail before this happened? They were all waiting trial on separate beefs. And they're like, yeah, as he eats his donut. So we have two different parties who seem to know who Quake Master is. These more of Quake Master's goons show up and are like, we need $100 million. We're here to collect. Where's the payoff, Mayor? And the mayor's like, what? You can't just come in here. And the guy's like, we're holding you until the city ponies up some cash. He's like, there is no cash, moron. There is no cash.
I thought that was great.
The city was in debt before it was in ruins. I'll be lucky to squeeze that kind of money out of Washington and the governor by the end of the year. And the guy's like, what do I do? I'm just going to, you know what? I'm going to shoot you. Looks like re-election is not going to be a problem for you, Your Honor. I didn't love that one.
No.
Kind of cheesy. So Robin is arriving, and so is Bullock and Montoya at where they think Quake Master is. And they're like, no, don't. Wait, what are you doing here? Stop. No, wait. Bullock's ready to just charge in and guns blazing. But they do not find Quake Master. They find a different guy being held hostage. And I'm just going to admit that I thought this was Lucius Fox at first.
I did too.
But it's not. It's some police person, I think.
Right, yeah.
And Quake Master's just on the TVs like a proper criminal. And then we take a little detour. Seriously, the second half of Cataclysm just goes all over the place.
And I don't have this one. I did not even have in the trade that I had.
All right. Well, if you like Jim Balin's style of art, buckle up. We did have a prior Catwoman one where she was just the tragic little girl thing.
Yes, which was a good one.
This one's a little more upbeat. She's spying on Poison Ivy, who's working on some project with like mega fertilizer, kind of. Some guy shows up and is like, of course he's in love with her because everyone is.
Right.
At last you've returned. I've been waiting breathlessly. She's like, yo, do you have what I wanted? And he's like, yeah. I gave your formula to a bunch of different places. It went into production right away. She's pulling a vial out of her cleavage, which I think is amazing.
Absolutely.
So like she's just got this amazing fertilizer now, this like super fertilizer. JP showing his appreciation. I think JP and I are of common mind when it comes to comic art and appreciating anatomy.
Yes. There's a lot to appreciate there.
Nothing I just said was offensive, right? Okay. So she's like, yeah, are the deliveries still on schedule? And he's like, they're in process now. I have the schedule right here on this piece of paper. It's all on its way and it's working like a charm for you. And she's like, and all this is extra, right? And he makes the mistake of saying, yeah. So that means she doesn't need him anymore.
Right.
So he gone. Or at least it's not looking good for him. He does give him a little kiss, though. Just to send the blood even more away from his brain. So he was just a scientist who played middleman. This is Catwoman's narration, actually.
Right.
Um,
Through the
she's
whole
like,
thing, pretty much.
she's trying to like convince herself not to intervene. She's like, this is just a scientist who played middleman to a psycho, some out of control vegetation, and a final kiss off. That's not my department. She's like, I don't want to help. And then she's like, well, whether or not I have actual morals, there's no reason this idiot down there has to strangle to death. So Ivy's walking away anyway. So she gets down there and somehow uses her whip to break through. I don't know how a whip breaks through that, but she frees the guy, and Ivy's like, oh, there's nothing you can even do for him now because of the kiss. And then she sort of like lays out her plan for like earthquake times. She's like, what I've done here, I will do for all of Gotham. There's going to be a glorious transformation. And from what I've heard of like, I don't know much about No Man's Land as a story, but I know Ivy like holed up in like Gotham's version of Central Park and just turned it into a big forest, right?
Yeah, pretty
That's
much
what I've heard.
is what is. I haven't read it either, but that's what I have gathered from it. Like her plan was to turn all of Gotham into,
which to me, and that's a pretty interesting character arc. I mean, that makes her one of the more interesting characters. So I'm glad they finally introduced her here. Side note, Jim Balin's drawing of characters in profile is fine until you get to the face.
Yeah.
And things just look a little off. I don't even know what it is. But anyway. Catwoman's like still fighting against the vines and stuff. Ivy's just out in the city with her super fertilizer. And I do like this part but you're still reading Catwoman's like inner monologue,
right?
And she's recalling Ivy something Ivy just said to her. Gotham's heart is no longer animal. She's like, Gotham's all animal. You crazy twig. She calls her a twig. I mean, it's harsh.
Yeah, that's harsh.
So Catwoman's just like, I guess I got to do something here, because if she turns the whole city into like a garden, that's going to really cramp my style as like a thief, like Gotham suits my needs the way it is. I can't have her turning it into a greenhouse. I have never once found anything worth stealing in a greenhouse.
No.
So we see Ivy outside of Gotham City Police Department. JP says I skipped the best Ivy panel. Which one is that? There were a lot of good Ivy panels in here. I had to pick and choose, man. Sorry. But DM it to me or something, just so I know and I can feel bad. Michigan's down by 6 with 10 minutes left. I've never once found anything worth stealing in a greenhouse. Then I love this panel because it's got two of my favorite characters, Bullock and Ivy, in it. And I like that Bullock's arm is in the sling from when he removed the shrapnel by pulling it out with his teeth, pouring bourbon on it or whatever. He's like, geez, lady, watch where you're
Yeah.
And so he gets all excited. He's like, oh my gosh, I have a chance to arrest Poison Ivy. Get your hands up. Or Franz, I guess, are another word for like a plant word for hands. Get him where I can see him now. She's like, no, I'm here to help. And he's like calling for backup because he just knows she's up to no good. That's a great face. Good job, Balin. So they're like talking it out. Catwoman arrives. She does her little seeds things, and the stuff's already starting to grow. She's like, I need to heal the entire city. A few strategic starting plots. Consider an honor that this is the first. There will be others. So that's a big clue. She leaves. Catwoman's like, hey, help me. We got to pull these things out by the roots. I never thought I'd utter these words, but help me, you idiot. Bullock's like, yo, I got this arm in a sling. What do you want me to do? Yeah, he's complaining. He's like, our resources are tapped. We're down. We're doing the best we can. They finally get it free somehow. We did it. And she goes, and Catwoman's gone, and he goes, "Does the city have some degree program in disappearing that I don't know about?" Great line. All right, let's see which panel I missed.
I do like the whole arc, the whole Ivy arc, and what she wants to do. Like, I mean, obviously we haven't read No Man's Land yet, but I do hope that it.
Panel.
I do hope that it comes to like that she does. Oh, that is a pretty good panel.
I mean, from an appreciation of the anatomy perspective, it is for sure.
Yes.
Anyway, we're getting sidetracked. God damn it. We're never going to get on one of these under an hour, are we? JP throwing some love to Bullock, which I love to see. So Catwoman's like, where's she going next? It has to be Reservoir Park. By the way, what an interesting name for a park.
Right.
Reservoir Park. Let's all go down to Reservoir Park and not commit some crimes. Because, if she unleashes her hyper seeds here, they'll spill into the water supply and be carried citywide. So, key location, right? She finds her. She says, I do so love being right. JP, I hope this panel makes up for my exclusion of that last one. Oh, boy. But Ivy has smartly put, like, some very loud plants right nearby her. And so she's like, crap. They have a little shouting match. Don't interfere with Mother Nature. Catwoman's like, I have a weapon and more martial arts training than she knows exists. And she has poisonous skin that I can't lay a hand on, which is something that I didn't realize.
I didn't realize that either. I also find it very hard to believe that she can keep herself together and in that outfit while she fights.
Right?
And runs around.
And she's not getting much support either.
No.
So she drops the seeds, the vial with the seeds. And somehow Catwoman, with her whip skills, grabs it. And I guess it's still not like totally secure yet. But it's in her whip, which, okay, so you can see the lid's off, right?
Right.
So it's dangling, but it's like open, and somehow none of it is spilling out. She's like, I got to get the vial up there before I spill anything. I mean, it looks like it's horizontal to me, like it's
right
now, isn't it? Which would be significantly less of a problem if up there didn't include someone who wants me dead. So she gets scratched by Ivy, which who knows what that's going to lead to, right? And she somehow whips the vial up so it hits Ivy in the face. And it breaks, and it puts the fertilizer all over her face. But Catwoman's like, yo, she's like plant girl. Like, she's just going to be fine, right? Like, fertilizer can't hurt plant girl, can it? She's like, it can't be that she's actually... Oh, I repeated this one, yeah. But then you see this amazing panel of, like, shit growing through Ivy's face. And you're like, oh, my God.
Through her eyes, through her nose, her mouth, everywhere.
She says, no idea it could hurt so much. Promise me, even if it kills me, you'll let them keep growing. Like, so she's, like, kind of accepting death here in a way.
Right.
But great panel. Then you just see, like, okay, I guess she's fine. Catwoman says, I suppose she'll be all right, and at least the city's safe. Bullock's just, like, taking her in. I don't know where they're going to put her. I'm sorry she got hurt, but I couldn't let her hurt Gotham. Okay. And that's that. Was this one in your...
I don't think this one was in mine either.
Okay. Well, this is
because I knew mine was missing a handful.
Another nice, concise title here. Batman Arkham Asylum Tales of Madness. There's actually... Bill Sienkiewicz was part of this cover with Dave Taylor. And Sienkiewicz does the inks inside. We're going to keep it real short on this one because nothing of importance to the story really happens, but it's Arkham, and we need to check in on Arkham, right? So like it shows the earthquake happening and how Arkham responds. There seems to have been an earthquake. I do really like this art. Sit tight wherever you are. We'll wait it out together. And we have a dog appearance. Hi, Deanie. All right. 15 minutes, you'll get your treats, okay? Killer Croc lives up to his name here. It's just unlucky that when the earthquake hit, Killer Croc was being... His door was open. I don't know, they're feeding him or what. So they try to restrain him. He removes the guy's head.
Right.
Then you see Joker's cell, and he's like, what do you say we have a little fun? And Croc's like, I don't like fun. He's like, come on, Killer, I've never steered you wrong, have I? I don't know, maybe not. Not the smartest dude, Killer Croc.
No.
So Joker gets out. There's some cool Joker art. They find a guard who is ordering them to get back to their cells. They trap him. They just laugh at him, actually. Like, I do like this. He's like, get back to your cells, all of you now. And they just pause for a second. Then they just start laughing.
Yeah.
Like, bro, do you know what your situation is right now? So they decide they're going to kill him, but we have to decide how to, like, who gets to kill you. We're going to have a story competition. I will spare you the stories. They get through all the stories, and he ends up just going crazy, and they end up not killing him because they're like, that's enough. He went crazy. So he becomes another resident of Arkham because the people in there are so crazy, in case you didn't know. Robin 53. I think we're getting pretty close. This one
We are. Yeah.
Okay. Jason Johnson. I think we discussed him last time.
Mm-hmm.
And then he did the cover, and somebody named Staz Johnson did the interior art. So lots of Johnsons in this issue. I believe this is one where we find out who Quake Master is. Okay, the guy who's not Lucius Fox is still tied up. Robin. Oh yeah, this is not the best art. This is that guy who did the other Robin issue.
Who did the other Robin issue? Yeah.
Yeah. Ugh. I mean, if you can't even draw Bullock decently, I know who you are, Quake Master. Who you really are. He's talking to the TVs. And he's like, well, I know you too. And Robin's like, yeah, well, say my name. Go on, say it. You're the assistant of that flying ferret. And he does the little pause. You can't even say his name. I could if I wanted to. Then say it. Robin's just playing tricks, like mind games with him. Quake Master's getting all upset. He's like, shut up. You shut up. I've had quite enough of this nonsense. Kill them. Kill all of them. And then guy who's not Lucius Fox does a cool move that hurts the bad guys and gets him free. Back to the mayor's office. His goons are still demanding money and making bad election jokes. And he's like, I'm giving you 10 seconds, lady. She's just talking back. She's like, make it 10 years, stupid. The city's bankrupt. There's no money for this Quake Master. There's no money to rebuild. So they're just fighting about it. And here comes Nightwing. Dramatic window entrance. As if enough of Gotham wasn't destroyed. Now this window's gone.
Yep.
Who's this? Who cares? Kill him. Fighting ensues. Lots of oofs and googs. This one guy's... he sort of helps protect Gordon and the mayor behind the desk. Yep. And then Mackenzie is the guy, not Lucius Fox guy. They free him, and Robin goes to a door nearby and says, you can drop the act, Quake Master. It's over. It's over for you. And then here's our first clue of who it is. You little grat. Sharon's here. I tune in and you're talking about Johnson's. Well, it was even a little dirtier earlier. Thank you for joining us. So we find out that, hey, it's ventriloquist. What do you know? And the Quake Master is just a puppet that has replaced Scarface. And the puppet says, kill Rogan. Kill Gatman if he's here. It's weird replacing all the B's with G's.
Right.
He's like, you're pathetic, ventriloquist. This latest puppet is even more obnoxious than your other little toy. And then out comes that other little toy, who of course has a gun. He's in a chest. He pulls him out. Just point me toward the cops and let the gullets fly. And then we cut to Bullock. This is so weird.
Yes.
Bullock shows up. Jolene makes a donuts joke. Like, I don't know if she's fat shaming or cop shaming there. Actually, she is definitely fat shaming.
Yes.
She's like, "Did you stop for donuts?" And then she sees him and she's like, "Whoa, maybe a few dozen." So this sweet hippie lady who we loved is now just an asshole. She introduces herself. She's like, "Jolene Relazzo, the puppet guy was using me as a technical advisor." And then she gives him a kiss. She's like, "You're a beautiful man." I didn't paste these panels together. These panels are in order.
Yeah, I know.
Like, they just don't even seem to.
No, it's an awkward. It's an awkward interchange.
So we're chasing ventriloquist and Scarface, and Robin's like, "Yo, don't kill him." And the guy's like, "I'm not going to kill him. Not exactly. I'm just going to take out Scarface's head." So Mackenzie's a sweet ass sniper. We have Alfred communicating with Barbara. She calls him an old smoothie. I don't even know why. Have you heard from the boys? Yes, just moments ago. And they sort of have a moment of reflection. They confirm that everyone is okay right now in the Bat family. They've brought that miscreant to justice. I'm left to assume that this particular adventure is over. And she goes, "Until the next one." It says, "Too true, too true." Some of the outer boroughs are totaled. Whole neighborhoods are a memory. And this is Dick talking. He says, "Over 100,000 dead at the last count I heard." 100,000.
It's a lot.
Yeah, I think that's the first time we've gotten like a number on that, isn't it?
In the book, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, Tim breaks up the Blackgate escapees. Dick says Gotham's going to be a long time getting back on its feet. Batman's like, "At least it's over." And then there's an aftershock. For now. And it's the end. That's Cataclysm. So that is how you stretch an earthquake over how many issues was that? Like 18 or something?
Something like that.
It's a lot of issues. I will say I was rarely bored with Cataclysm.
No, me neither. I thoroughly enjoyed it.
There were a couple of issues where a page or two in, I just realized that this one's just for flavor. It's not going to move the story along.
Right.
Listen, that's modern comics. You just got to take that, I guess.
No, I thought it was really good. And mine doesn't actually end there. Mine actually has the little orphan Andy as the last story.
Oh, okay.
And it shows Leslie walking away at the end of the book. But no, I mean, I thought it was definitely a good prologue to whatever 8 trades we're going to read here shortly.
Yeah. So Aftershock is next.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I don't even know how long that one goes, but that's sometimes referred to as Road to No Man's Land.
I have 2 volumes of it. Road to No Man's Land, volume 1 and 2. And then it goes into No Man's Land.
Okay. So about the same length as Cataclysm was, I guess. Or is Cataclysm 1 trade paperback?
Cataclysm was 1.
Oh, all right. So Aftershock's going to be even longer. We've read a few issues in. I think the stories are going to get a little more interesting.
Yeah, I know that we started with that before we decided to go and read Cataclysm. We just were starting with the Road to No Man's Land. But the first, I don't remember what I went through, like the first 3 or 4, but I thought they were real good. Real interesting.
I was very impressed with the first 3 issues.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
We need to decide if we're going to do a whole bunch of issues at a time or 3 at a time. So we'll figure that out off the air. But, thank you everyone for joining us. JP, I hope you were here to see the big reveal that you had forgotten about, that it's Ventriloquist who is Quake Master. But if not, if you found something better to do, that's cool too, man. I don't blame you.
Yeah.
We went an hour and 10 minutes.
Did.
We're going to try to keep it shorter than that in the future. But for now, did you want to show that off?
Well, I just had that up there from the last time. I was going to show it. The first appearance.
We both have pretty nice raw copies of that we're going to be sending in at some point.
Yeah.
CGC. So,
I mean, I only bought it because you bought it and showed it to me, and then I was like, "Oh,
I know
well,
you're so competitive."
I had to get a better copy. What I think is a better copy. We'll see.
We'll see who gets the better one. I think mine's a 9.8 candidate, and I think I'm going to give it to Geek Aficionado to see what he can do with it. So I'm just saying I'm going to win, and you're just going to eat it.
I just might go raw and see what I get.
All right, folks. Thanks so much for joining us. We're going to take the dirty discussion into the offline chat, and we'll be back next time. Whenever that is. Who knows? No promises, folks. No promises.
No promises.
Later.